looking forward to all the comments on this video. Welcome back to the kitchen. We are doing a video today called What I Eat When I Crave Meat. I hope you enjoyed that title because I enjoyed thinking of it. These are recipes that essentially are meat alternatives if you're vegetarian or vegan. So lots of people get very confused with vegans when they make burgers, sausages, vegan chicken, vegan bacon, and they can't understand or relate to that, I guess, desire to want to eat meat alternatives. And for me personally, as a vegan of 10 years, I like to eat them because they taste good. And when I went vegan, I didn't go vegan because I didn't like the taste of meat. I went vegan because I didn't want to eat animals. I wanted to improve my food footprint on the environment, and I wanted to take care of my health. There were so many reasons that I was going vegan, and none of them had to do with the way that non-vegan food tasted. So when you go vegan and you're doing it for the animals, you're doing it for the environment, you're doing it for your health, you are choosing to basically change your diet, but you don't have to miss out on anything. So this video is for those of you who love the taste of meat. I know some vegetarians and vegans have gone vegetarian or vegan because they don't like the taste of meat. That's fair enough. Probably this video is not for you, but these recipes are going to be great alternatives that are made from plants. You can all have a field day with the title telling me that I shouldn't be vegan if I crave meat, that I'm plant-based. La la la, you go for it, girl. So the first recipe is black bean meatballs, and this is from my cookbook, Make It Vegan. I've shown it here served up in a sub, so like in a baguette with cheese on top. That's how we're gonna make it today, but this works perfectly for the recipe on the cover, which is spaghetti meatballs. So you've got your black bean meatball recipe ready to make whatever version you enjoy, and they're delicious. They are very, very easy to make. You could probably make them into burger patties as well. I haven't done that before, but I don't see why that wouldn't work. And I'm very excited to eat this because this is just seriously delicious. We'll start by cooking our onion and garlic in a frying pan with some oil. Now we can transfer the cooked onion and garlic into a food processor, along with black beans, 75 grams of rolled oats, a teaspoon of harissa paste, a teaspoon of oregano, a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, 100 grams of breadcrumbs, and seasoning. Pulse and make sure not to overblend. And now we can roll our mixture into 16 to 20 meatballs. Looking very meaty and it smells so good. So make them bigger or smaller depending on what you prefer. I also tend to just half the mixture. Makes your life a little bit easier if you half it and then half it again, so you've got 4, and then you can divide that up. I'm gonna make them slightly bigger, so I'm gonna do probably like 16. You can even go a step further and weigh them out if you want them to all be perfectly even. Now we can brown them off in a large frying pan for around 5 to 10 minutes. Just cook them until they're brown on all sides. You can't tell me those don't look like meat. And if you had a friend come over, that they wouldn't think that this is meat. They even smell meaty. Meanwhile, we can make our sauce, frying an onion and garlic. Now add your tin of chopped tomatoes. Pinch of chili flakes if you like. I'm filling this tin about halfway with water, so add a bit of water. Dash of ketchup or brown sugar, and season, and some basil. And then we can just let this simmer until it's reduced. Now we can add in our browned meatballs and just cook this through for a few minutes, and then either serve it up with spaghetti or in a sub with some cheese. Just push them in there, don't stir them too much because you don't want them to break or anything. Now we can layer up our baguette. And vegan cheese. I'm using the Applewood vegan block because it melts really well and it's got a lovely smoky taste. And then toast this open until the cheese is melted. This is a nice big old mess. It's because it's been sitting there, I've been trying to get video. This is the issue with filming. Food gets like soggy and cold. It's not cold, but let's take a bite. I've already taken a bite for Instagram. That is so delicious. The harissa is a key ingredient, I think, because it adds so much flavour to the dish and to the meatballs. It is perfect with pasta too if you love meatball spaghetti, but a Saab is a bit of fun, isn't it? It's proper comfort food. So if you are missing out on meatballs and you've tried all the ones in the supermarket and you want to try something different, definitely give this one a go. Now, who doesn't love a sausage roll? These unsausage rolls are perfect for if you are looking for a meat-free option. Truly sensational. This one uses tofu. I'm trying to give you variety here where all of these meat alternatives aren't made from the same thing. So we've obviously had black beans, this is tofu, and it means that you can try out different textures, different flavors, and see how you like them. I used to love a sausage roll. That was my favorite thing to get in school when you went to the canteen, and I'd always pick them up at bakeries, and I absolutely loved them at Christmas time. So I wanted to try my hand at making my own version. It's really easy. It uses things like tofu and lots of seasonings and then some puff pastry, which is usually accidentally vegan. If you get the Just Roll, it's vegan on its own, and they taste just delicious and very comforting. So perfect if you're craving a sausage roll. We're gonna press our tofu, get yourself some extra firm tofu. And if you are vegan, I would really recommend buying a tofu press because I've had this one from ToFuture, I think since 2015, maybe even 14, I don't remember. I've had it my entire YouTube career and I'm pretty sure I bought it before I was on YouTube. And it's still pretty much in perfect condition. I think I broke this by dropping it, but other than that, like, you buy it once. If you don't have a tofu press though, just get your tofu and put it in between two plates with some heavy cookbooks on top. Not too many, but just to press out most of the water. You don't have to do this, but it just helps to make the texture of these unsausage rolls less watery. You don't want loads of water in your tofu, and it does come filled in water, and it has soaked it up in there. So you literally just pop it in, put it in this, and you can't see what I'm doing, but I'll show you in a second. You then just put the little elastics on either side and leave it to be pressed. And when you take it out, you'll notice there's lots of water at the bottom. First, we'll fry a red onion in olive oil. I'll cook this for around 15 minutes until it's all soft and caramelized. So while our onions are caramelizing, we're gonna start making our sausage roll filling. Here's our tofu that we pressed, and I'll show you the water that's come out. So all that liquid would have gone into the food processor and would have made things a bit too runny, so it's really useful to get all that out. So just roughly break in your tofu. 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs, a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of soy sauce, a tablespoon of vegetable oil, a vegan stock cube. You can use vegan beef stock cubes if you can find them. Otherwise, just stick to a vegetable stock cube. 2 tablespoons of caramelized onion chutney, a little squirt of ketchup, though this is not a squirt because it's a glass bottle, and some pepper. Now I can add in my caramelized red onion and blitz it all up. This is the puff pastry I'm using from Just Roll. It's vegan. We're just gonna roll this one out. And we'll cut this in half. And then we can add our mixture into the center. You could do this in one big sausage roll. And then you would just wanna shape this into a nice log, leaving a little gap at each end. And now we can brush around the edge with non-dairy milk. Obviously, because we're not using egg, milk is a good substitute for this. I'm using oat milk, but it really doesn't matter. Just don't use a sweetened milk. Fold your pastry over your sausage meat. You also want your pastry, I didn't mention, but you also want your pastry straight out of the refrigerator. Roll these over so the seam is underneath. Brush the top lightly with milk. This is going to just help it go brown. And then just cut them up into approximately 5 centimetre or 2-inch rolls, or whatever size you like. You can do big ones as well. Then we're going to arrange them on a baking tray. Little hack, scrunch up your baking paper to make it behave, because when it's fresh, new, it tends to fold all over the place. You can also sprinkle them with sesame seeds. So you can do black sesame seeds or white ones. I'm going to do black just for fun, because in the book they're white. And then we can bake these in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius for 25 to 30 minutes until golden. So these are fresh out of the oven. Ah, look how good they look. They are so comforting and just, I don't know, they're just so comforting, and the colour of them goes a delicious deep, can you see them? It goes a delicious deep colour when they go in the oven, which is really nice because it looks like meat and it has a texture like meat, and it's different though, which is quite nice. Let's try one. I'm going to try the end one, just because it's a bit easier to eat on camera. These recipes are not the easiest to eat on camera. Truly sensational. Like I said, you could make long sausage rolls, different shapes if you want to. They're a perfect little party snack too. And of course you can dip them in some ketchup. Super, super meaty without any meat. I'm gonna be triggering so many people with this video. I've also definitely just burnt my tongue. This recipe is my very quick and easy vegan chicken. This is a combination of my sticky seitan recipe from my cookbook, as well as my tofu firecracker nuggets. I'm taking the basic seitan recipe and then mixing it with the breadcrumbing technique from the tofu nuggets. I like to do this with my recipes because it makes your life easier. So if you're flicking through my cookbook and you're thinking, oh, I could combine that, definitely try that because it is fun. So seitan is made from vital wheat gluten. It's the gluten part of wheat. You can buy it in health food shops. I get mine online. I'll leave a link where I get it. It's a replica for meat because it has that stringy, proteiny, meaty texture, and it's really easy to do. There are lots of recipes on the internet that are quite complicated, and I wanted to simplify it for the cookbook so that it was something that you would actually do. This is one of those recipes that is just going to get it done and make it really easy, and it really does the job, and it tastes like meat to me. So I'm slightly adapting my sticky seitan ribs recipe. I'm going to double the vital wheat gluten. So we'll start with 240 grams of vital wheat gluten, 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of onion powder, some salt and pepper, a teaspoon of mustard powder, and 2 tablespoons of soft brown sugar. Mix all of these dry ingredients together, and now we can add in our wet ingredients. So we'll start with 360 ml of water and 2 teaspoons of liquid smoke, and then we'll stir this all together. See how it quickly comes together. This is because it's very glutinous. It's definitely not a gluten-free recipe at all. So then we want to knead this together for about 30 to 60 seconds. You can see how quickly it comes together. It's not like bread. You don't want to over knead it because you need it to be pliable. So literally just knead it until it's all come together, and that is it. Do not be tempted to over knead because that's where you'll run into issues. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's all come together. So now we can flatten this out and then divide it up. I'm just gonna cut this into 4 pieces. And then we can pop these onto a baking tray. Preheat your fan oven at 200 degrees Celsius and cook these for around 20 to 30 minutes. This will vary depending on your oven. Just keep an eye on it. When it's about golden brown, you can take them out. So I'm using the batter recipe from the firecracker nuggets. Like the seitan, I'm leaving out the spices because I want it to be like a classic southern fried chicken style flavour, and I'm sticking with salt, pepper and garlic powder and keeping it simple because that's what I fancy. So add the spices that you like. If you've got a particular spice mix you love, you can always add this into the breadcrumb, or you could have added it into the seitan itself. Got 3 bowls. First bowl, I'm gonna pop in 5 tablespoons of flour. And then into our flour, 125 ml of milk. And like I said, I'm leaving out the spices from the firecracker tofu because I don't want this recipe to be spicy, but you could keep them in. The next, I will add a teaspoon of garlic. And then a really generous helping of salt and pepper. I feel like the part that makes southern fried chicken taste that way is the pepper. So I'm gonna add loads of pepper. Look at my really broken pepper grinder, but it still works. We've glued it back together. This is because I've dropped it so many times. And then mix this all together. In the next bowl, we're gonna do breadcrumbs. I'm using panko breadcrumbs, but you can use shop bought breadcrumbs, or you can make your own breadcrumbs with just bread by blending it, but I've got panko in the cupboard. So 75 grams. And then in the third one, we're doing the rest of the flour. So again, I've suggested here 125 grams. It does not need to be accurate. It's just a general amount of how much probably will coat. So now we've got our 3 bowls, flour, breadcrumbs, and then our batter, which is the flour, milk, spice mix. And we can get our seitan out of the oven and coat it all and then deep fry it. The seitan looks like it's pretty done, so I'm gonna take that out now. I'm gonna wait for these to cool down, but I wanna show you the texture of seitan. Seitan does this lovely thing where you can see it goes really stringy, kind of like meat, kind of like shredded chicken. Now this is very hot. See that? That shredded chicken kind of vibe. So we're gonna get little lumps like this, and these will be the sections we'll deep fry. So I'll start by quickly demonstrating. Take your seitan chunk, dip it in the flour first, then your wet mixture, and then your breadcrumbs. Try and keep one wet hand, one dry hand. It will save a lot of mess. So first into your flour. I've literally just undone that exact thing I've just said, look. Let's go to detail and start again. I always forget. Right, so dry hand, this will be the wet one. Into our wet mixture. And then finally into our breadcrumbs. We have our first little chickeny, seitan-y nugget thing, and you just repeat this across all of your seitan, and then we can deep fry. So flour, the wet mixture, and then finally the breadcrumbs. And it's so easy, like it's so simple if you're craving this kind of food. So let's tear our next piece of chicken. So we start with our flour, get it all coated in the flour, then in our wet mixture, and then finally breadcrumbs. And then you have your little breadcrumbed seitan. Now we want to heat up a generous amount of cooking oil in a large frying pan. And this is where you fry them. And you could totally cook these in the oven too, or air fry them. I know people have messaged to say that they've done that. And my sister the other day made the firecracker tofu nuggets and put them in the oven for my niece. So you don't have to deep fry them. Get them frying, and you may need to do these in 2 batches depending on how big your frying pan is. I most likely will, because you don't want to overcrowd or anything. And you can give these a turn and coat them and fry them until they're all golden. These will look a little bit yellow because I'm using rapeseed oil and it's cold pressed. I forgot to buy your standard old cooking oil for this video, so that's why it's a bit yellow, and this is a bit of an expensive frying. I would just use your standard cooking oil from the supermarket, but I forgot. I want you to understand just how simple that was. It was as simple as it came across in the video. It doesn't involve deep frying a mushroom, because I know loads of people don't like mushrooms. It doesn't involve tofu, which I know, again, lots of people don't love tofu. It is something that you can order on the internet. I'll leave a link to where I get mine from. You can have it in your cupboard if you're vegetarian or vegan and you're wanting to keep this up for the year. Order it and you've got it in the cupboard like you would flour, and you can make this whenever you like. Really simple. You can adjust the seasoning, you can bake it, air fry it, you could just use the batter and not do breadcrumbs. There's so many different options, and it means that you've got a high protein meat alternative. This sauce is literally just vegan mayonnaise, ketchup and a bit of hot sauce. You don't need to measure it out, just make it on your own, easy peasy. It just tastes so good. And look at the texture. Really nice and stringy, meaty texture. Utterly delicious. And I will be making this again and again. And I really hope you enjoy them. Remember, this is a way to enjoy vegan food, to make it last for the long term, to cook more from scratch, to find different alternatives if you aren't vegan or vegetarian, but you're trying to reduce eating meat. So try these recipes out. Let me know if you give them a go. Definitely go check out my cookbook, Make It Vegan, where these recipes came from. So many of you have been loving it so far. I'll show you the reviews on screen. And I'm so happy with how many of you have bought this book in the UK and in the US and all over the world. It's so exciting and so surreal that so many of you are loving this and sharing your recipes with me. So please keep doing that. Keep sharing them on Instagram and tagging me, because it makes me so happy to see. Hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up, and I will be coming back with another recipe video very soon. I'm enjoying it. I'm getting on a roll with this, filming by myself. And I'll invite you into my vegan kitchen again soon. So I'll see you then. Yeah, go vegan.